what was your takeaway? Like, what did you see? What did you feel? What does it look like getting out of that game heading into a Super Bowl?
Man, you know what? I don't know if you guys can pull up the audio, but I said before the day before the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs games, I said, listen, if the Kansas City Chiefs go on the road and beat the Buffalo Bills, I said it's a Kansas City alert. Meaning that they understand where they need to be at this point if they want to continue to move on in the playoffs and reach the Super Bowl. And when I made that statement, I said, you know what? Give me Steve Spagnuolo for one game, and I'm going to pick him as my defensive coordinator because he's going to take everything away that you do well. And when I made that statement, I was referencing the experience from Kansas City versus Baltimore. Everybody knows that the Baltimore Ravens were the best team in football up to that point into the AFC Championship game. But someone was just telling me that the demeanor of Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, that defense, they've already been there four times already in the last 5 years. So it was the biggest game in the Baltimore Ravens playoff history because that was the first AFC championship game that they had ever hosted, even though they went on the road as a wild card team in 2000 and in 2000, I believe it was 12, when they wanted to get the San Francisco 49ers. So they've never hosted an AFC championship game. And make no mistake about it, Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league this year. But it was a game that he needed to win. And I thought that the moment will be too big for him to handle because I understand it. I've been there. I went to the AFC Championship game in my second year of professional football, and it was like, you know what? I got to do everything right. It's so much pressure on you as a player to be able to go out and perform and to know and to understand that you're 60 minutes away from playing in the biggest game of your life, which is the Super Bowl, which is the reason why we play the game as kids, to reach the pinnacle of the sport. And I just thought going into that game, Zay Flowers being a rookie, obviously, OBJ having some experience being in that position and winning the Super Bowl with the Rams. But as a whole, for a team for the Baltimore Ravens, I thought that they would be overwhelmed by the moment. And it showed. And Kansas City went into Baltimore and methodically moved the football up and down the field on the first two drives. I said to myself, the Baltimore Ravens are in trouble because I don't believe that they have the team. And I'm not throwing shade on Lamar Jackson, but I just thought that when they got down 14-0, it was going to be tough for them to get away from what they do because they establish a run and they throw the ball off of the run. Lamar Jackson is not a drop back 40, 45 time, throwing the football kind of quarterback. So I thought when they got behind, it was going to be tough for them to get ahead. And I just thought, man, that Steve Spagnuolo, did a masterful job in mixing the coverages up in that game. And
for those who may be wondering your connection with Steve, he was the defensive coordinator when the Giants won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. So you know him from the building, from being in the building, from being around him.
But look at the quarterbacks that he's beaten in Super Bowls. He's beaten Tom Brady twice. I forget who Kansas City beat in their first championship. But he's taken down some of the best quarterbacks in these championship games and in these Super Bowl games that nobody's talking about. And he's beaten the best quarterbacks, taken away from what they do well, and that is why the Kansas City Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl.
Okay, but what about 49ers? How do you feel about that?
You know what? I really wasn't impressed. I was not, because it was a game that I think the Detroit Lions gave away. Everybody knows that Dan Campbell should have kicked those footballs, to get to go up 17. And now, you get a Brock Purdy throws a long ball to Brandon Ayuk. The Detroit line defender has it. It bounces off of his helmet It's a big play by Ayuk. Then they get a turnover. Now, the 2 and 3 plays, they score 14 points. But if you kick that field goal on 4th and 8 or 9 or whatever it was, you're still up 3 points. Mm-hmm. So he took those points off of the board by not making that decision. But I just think, man, being up 17 points in a championship game and to lose by 3 when you went for it twice on 4th down says a lot about, I think, Dan Campbell, because his motto is we're always in 4-down territory. No, this is not. We have a game next week,
right?
This is the championship game.
You could have put them points on the board.
Yeah, you don't have a game next week, man. You take those points, and I'm going back and forth with Antonio Pierce during this time, and I'm like, dog, if you ever do this, I'm gonna come down there and snatch you off the sideline myself. He was like, dog, I would never take points off of the board, especially in a game like this. If it's week 7 or week 8, okay, but the Detroit Lions, man, them kids played their tail off, man.
Yeah,
and they needed their coach to put them in the best chance to win that football game, and he did not. He was selfish and making those decisions because of his bravado. He was feeling himself and who he is as a head coach. He's not going to back off for his coaching style. But at that moment, for the Detroit Lions to get to the NFC Championship game in 30, 40 plus years or whatever the case may be, and not put those kids in the best position to win that game, it was all on him.
Dang. Well, that's pretty deep. I'll say this. I felt like Baltimore had so much more to offer than what they did in that game. I really felt that was kind of a miss for me in terms of what I expected and what I saw. But it's a young team, like you said, and there were some big mistakes made, and it happens. As far as the Kansas City Chiefs, Spags is a hero. He has shown his brilliance over and over again, and I think they're the catalyst. They've been more the catalyst this year than the offense and Mahomes. Mahomes gets a lot of the pub and a lot of the praise, as he should, but that defense has carried the load for this Kansas City Chiefs team, and that's what that was the difference to me. And just to wrap it up with the San Fran Detroit game, I thought that was one of the easiest cruisable wins that could have taken place during the playoffs. They did so well to get up, and they played so hard and physical in the way that you would expect it to happen. And they made some. They could have made the plays work. It's like the part of me is like, it's selfish. You should have took the points or take the points, but it's been your personality, but kind of, you've tested the analytics, but the analytics probably said not to do that. I don't know where it all goes with that, but it just seemed like that was a game that Detroit had in the bag, and generally you don't take something out of the bag once you have it in the bag. So, Plex, it is what it is, but I think all in all, to see this rematch take place, the linebackers for San Fran have played amazing. They're probably one of the main reasons why they're in the Super Bowl. And it's going to be interesting because this could easily turn into a defensive struggle of a Super Bowl versus it being the profiling and spotlighting of the offenses and these quarterbacks. But that's me, a defensive player, saying what I'm saying,